markets, primarily by increasing construction costs and potentially leading to higher home prices. Joining us now to discuss that and so much more is Mr. Mark Powell, real estate broker and owner of Discovery Property Group, back here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, Mark. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
All right, let's jump into it. In this case, we're talking perhaps the word of the year, tariffs and the effects on the residential construction. We now know that tariffs raising construction costs as high as 20%. You know what that means. If those costs go up, so does the cost of a home.
Absolutely. So there's some tariffs that are being imposed on the essential materials that are needed to build properties, condos and residential properties. And that's lumber, it's wood, lumber, steel, and aluminum. And those are the primary ingredients for making a home. And so when these tariffs go up, when you're facing 20% increases in construction costs, those are going to be passed on to the buyer. We're not going to be able to avoid paying more for condominiums, houses, as long as these tariffs are in. But I do agree with the tariffs, and I do understand why they're doing it. Guy, it's kind of like if you didn't have a kitchen, you would be forced to eat out all the time at restaurants, and they control the price. So what these tariffs are going to do is they're going to bring some money in so we can build a kitchen, and then we can control the prices of our goods and services. But we're going to feel the pain. Those tariffs those prices are going to be transferred over to us, the end consumer.
Yeah, great analogy, Mark. I guess, though, I understand it, but let's say I happen to be in the market of buying a home right now, and the wife and I, and let's say the kids, we all want to move in ASAP. We all want to make that purchase. It's probably harder to really fathom and understand that when I know that I want it right now.
Absolutely. And prices across the country have skyrocketed. The average price for a home right now is $435,000 nationwide. You know, they're up from $200,000 just 6 or 7 years ago. You know, another reason why these home prices are going up is foreign investor buyers. You may not realize this, but Canadians, they purchase $6 billion of property annually. That's Canadians that want to buy homes here. Specifically, they're buying homes in Florida, they're buying homes in Arizona and in Texas. But listen to this, guy. Ironically, Americans cannot buy homes in Canada. And a lot of people didn't realize that. Canada has a moratorium on foreign purchases. And the reason why they did it is these foreign buyers were driving up the properties for everybody else. So the Canadians realized their people can no longer afford to buy properties because, you know, they're being beat out by all cash buyers from all these different countries.
Sure.
So it's kind of a weird situation. We're being hit with tariffs. We're being hit with foreign investor buyers that are purchasing up these properties, and yet we are not allowed to buy properties in Canada. It just does not seem like it's a fair agreement.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. Let's shift gears to the commercial real estate side, and it's no secret, Mark. I can tell you right here in the nation's capital, you drive through downtown D.C., that's what that whole revitalization effort is all about. There are a lot of empty office buildings, and so to think that we could see more of that sometime in the near future because of these quote-unquote tariffs, I would argue is yet again concerning.
Well, the office buildings, one of the primary reasons why you're seeing a high vacancy rate in office buildings is just exactly what you said, Guy. There are these tremendously long commutes to get in and out of the city, you know, D.C., Philly, all over the country. So the business owners realized, hey, why don't we just have these people work from home? And that was started about 7 or 8 years ago. But then COVID hit, and everybody started working from home. And people said, well, I don't want to go back into the office. I just want to stay home and work. So the business owners said, we could actually save some money. We don't need as much office space anymore. Those people that can work remotely, let's just let them work remotely. And when it came time to renew their leases, they said, we don't need this big office space anymore. And so now you're seeing a decline in the revenue that's being generated by these commercial buildings, and that brings the price down. And so they go into foreclosure. Some of these buildings are selling for pennies on the dollar. But it's not all doom and gloom for the commercial industry. A lot of buildings are now being repurposed, and I'll give you an example. Some of these big, large commercial buildings, they're being turned into pickleball courts. And that's been a big phenomenon around the country. Those people who cannot play pickleball year-round, they're starting to play inside these vacant warehouses and buildings like that. So there are some good sides to the commercial industry. One other point I wanted to touch upon is that places like Amazon now people are just buying online. So it's closing down a lot of the storefronts. People would rather shop online and have the stuff delivered. So these large companies have to build these massive centers to hold all the products. Because you wonder, I ordered something on Amazon and I got it the same day. How the heck did I get it the same day?
Yeah.
That's because there's massive storage facilities that can bring it over to you in the same day.
Mark, you made mention of pickleball, so I'm going to toss the ball back over into the residential side. In this case, I'm talking about the current market status, if you will. Is this a buyer's market or a seller's market with regard to what we are experiencing right now?
It's another great question, Guy. It's a little bit regional, but for the most part, it's a seller's market. Many, many cities across the nation are experiencing a housing shortage. They're just not building enough homes to meet the demand. So you're seeing these prices skyrocket. So sellers now are getting top dollar for their properties. However, we're reaching kind of a plateau. There's a point of diminishing returns. You can only squeeze people so much when it comes to rents, when it comes to purchases. So we're seeing a little bit of a leveling and maybe even a little bit of a softening in the market. As sellers can no longer get those double-digit increases that we've seen, the last 2, 3, 4 years ago. But now we're getting a little bit of a leveling off. The sad thing is salaries did not come up the same way that the housing costs came up. So buyers are still struggling. They're having difficulties making that initial down payment. So we're going to see probably a little bit more settling as wages start to come up a little bit so that we can afford to live out the American dream, and that is of home ownership.
Yeah, that American dream. It's hard to believe, Mark, that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, and that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but inside D.C. proper, the average home now surpassing $1 million. That's really hard to live the American dream.
I have to tell you, if you're going to buy a home today and it's $1 million or over, you're going to have to make about $220,000 to $240,000 a year to qualify. And that's a lot of money, and most people are just not making that kind of money. You can double up to people making $100,000 and $110,000 a year and be able to afford one, but just for the regular person who has a job, it's really tough to purchase a home that's over $1 million or at $1 million.
Yeah. All right. Well, yet again, that's why we're calling on you to give us some great information to figure out how to do just that. We have been speaking.
You know what, Guy? What some people are doing, buyers are getting creative. What they're doing is, you'll have siblings pooling together to buy a house. You'll have creating like limited liability corporations and getting a different type of a loan and buying a house. People are coming together. Two families are coming together and buying homes. So they're being a little bit more creative in the financing so they can be able to afford a house. And hey, just get in the market, get something, and start realizing that dream of home ownership.
Yeah, Mark, I'm okay with the sibling thing, but my sister uses up all the toothpaste, so we're going to have a conversation about that before we make it happen. Yet again, we have been speaking with Mark Powell, real estate broker and owner of Discovery Property Group, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Guy. Take care.
You got it. All right. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.